On May 10th, Betamax turned 50 years old. In this short video, myself, Alex over at Betabytes, Mr. Betabytes, Colin at Video 99 UK, and Will over at Betamax Rebel Outpost, we're going to share our favorite machines and talk about our favorite format in video. Hope you enjoy it. 2025 marks the 50th anniversary of the Sony Betamax. I want to show you my favorite deck, which was the SL2500 I. This deck brought editing to a level that we had never seen in home video. The SL2500 I, when you coupled two of them together, you had accurate editing down to 2 frames. That was completely unheard of. It featured flying erase heads, could do frame accurate editing, again down to 2 frames. The SL2500 I added a couple of great features. One of them was they brought back Beta 1, and they extended it to 6 MHz Beta 1 SHB, which boosts the horizontal resolution to over 300 lines of resolution, which brought it into the U-matic 3/4 inch realm as far as picture quality went. It would do both insert and assemble editing. I want to demo this, although I hauled out my 2 SL2500s, and I got to fix one of them because it hasn't been turned on in years. This is the one machine I was going to use as the recorder, but it's not loading. And the reason it's not loading is because the little switch here has gone bad. If I unplug the switch and I short it with a screwdriver, push the tape in and short it with a screwdriver, of course the tape will go in. So I'm just going to have to quickly clean this switch, and that should solve the problem for this. We'll hook 2 machines together. I'll do a little edit of this tape. This is the original tape that came out of the camera back in 1987 when I shot this down in Las Vegas. Whenever Sony made a special cable, they always give it a different color. In this case, it's blue. This is a Control T cable. It allows the decks to communicate. It allows the controlling deck to talk to the recording deck, and it allows the recording deck to talk to the playback deck and provide that timing information from the actual tape counter, which reads the control track. I'm going to do this demo in Beta 1S, and I'm going to do it in insert mode as opposed to assemble. I guess I could show you both, but we'll do insert mode first. I'm going to demonstrate a very simple insert onto these color bars, and then we'll assemble. We'll do the automatic assembly so you can watch the machines work. But to do an insert, I basically cue up my tape to the shot that I want to put in, and I can pause it. So say I want to pause this shot here. I'm going to do an insert. I'm going to do an insert for, I guess, maybe 5 seconds. So I'm going to hit my audio video insert button on here, and I hit the mark key, and then I'm going to roll this ahead to my end point. I'm going to end it right there. I'm going to press the mark key again. Now I've locked in, it's 4 seconds and 10 frames, and I'm going to press the execute key or the start key. Both machines go back, they roll back, and then it queues up and does the edit right now. Cut in, and then it'll cut out, and then the machine will roll back to the end of that point. Here's it playing back, and at the point where I did the insert, it cut in. Of course, the tape is worn out, so, and then back to the color bars. That's an insert edit. This time I'm going to show automatic assemble editing, and that's done by pressing the assemble edit button on the playback machine. So I press the assemble button. We'll get a screen on the preview monitor which says assemble editing. Now I'm going to play the tape. I'm going to pick my points that I want to edit. So I want to edit, say, that shot there. That's going to be my first shot. So I can cue it back, find the beginning of the shot, hit the mark button. I'm going to roll it ahead to the end. And then hit the mark button again. Now I want to get another shot. That's a 7-second shot. Say I want to go ahead a bit. So we'll scrub ahead, and I want a shot right here. No, I don't want that because I know there's a blunt edit there, but I want to cut around that. So this next shot will be ending just before that. So end right there, and I'll mark it. That's a 12-second. I'm just going to go ahead a bit to get past that glitch, and I'll mark it again. We'll go ahead a bit and I'll stop it. Mark, you hit the start button now and that'll start automatic assemble editing. This machine will roll back 5 seconds. This one will go back and clean the heads while it's running. This will rewind back, get the, I had 8 shots that I put together, and now it's going to record, and then this one's going to start rolling, and it's going to cut in, and there it goes. And while it's doing it, I'm going to get a shot. Now that you see what's happening here, this is now going to stop. This one's going to roll back, cue itself back for the second shot, and go back into play. And then it's going to go into record at the recording point, which is now. I'll show you the screen on the other TV while it's doing it. So here's the cue back. And then it cuts in, does the recording. It's going to record this shot, then it's going to cut back. This is going to now rewind back and cue up the next shot automatically. So these are what the TV station guys had. And this was the first machine where you could do it at home and do it just like the big boys did. And you needed no extra equipment. All you needed was 2 SL2500s. These machines made editing in the linear tape mode almost enjoyable. You could set up to 8 shots at once and then press the go button or the start button, and the machines would queue up those 8 shots. They could be anywhere on the tape. These decks both feature a 5-second pre-roll, so at the beginning of every shot you'll see that it will go back an extra 5 seconds. They'll both pause momentarily and then they will roll in sync for that last 5 seconds, and then right at the frame would cut in. If we watch back our recording, this is the automatic assembly. And I'm sure we're probably going to have some head clogs here because old tape. But here are the scenes cut together in the order that I cut them. And there'll be no glitches. Everything will be edited flawlessly. Anyway, there it is, my favorite Betamax machine of all time.
Hello from the Mr Beta channel, and this is a little bit different insofar as I don't have one single favourite beta machine. So what I've done is I've collected together a mixture of different machines that I love working on, that I enjoy using, or that are just great generally, and maybe have some fond memories for many people from back in the day as well. So happy birthday Beta and Betamax, and happy birthday as well to the Sony SL2500, which celebrates its 40th birthday this year, having been released in 1985. So yeah, what a fine machine. Let's crack on. But a firm favourite beta machine has to be the Sony SL2500, and this is my own machine. Occasionally use it for watching films and videos back on, and you can see it's got white and orange VU meter LEDs as opposed to the more standard green and orangey red ones, matching the VFD with the VU meters rather than the LEDs on the rest of the deck. So in the UK, as I understand it, they only came with this basic remote, with the full-featured RMT 232 being an option. I think in Europe it was actually supplied with this remote as standard. But did you know that the RMT 425, which came with Video 8 machines of a similar time, will actually open the skate? So cool. Bit pointless, but it's nice to know the code is there for it to be an option. But yeah, like I say, it's a bit pointless because, well, you still have to go up to the machine to see what the tape's actually doing. But you do it because you can. Just absolutely love Sony's design, sometimes just how far they go and just how bonkers they are. It's Super Beta, of course, and Beta Hi-Fi, and great results, multiple speed, still and trick modes, forwards and backwards, perfect stills, What more could you want? And absolutely love these machines. The Sony C6 from 1982. This is the Mark II version, which is the dark version with the button straight across, and the Mark I was the silver version, which had like a T arrangement for the tape transport controls. Really like these machines, and yeah, a real favourite to be fair. And there's just something about that positive clunk when you press pause. Although I seem to remember the Mark I, it sounds even more satisfying. The Sanyo VTC 9300 from 1978. The Sanyo VTC 9300. Then we have the Sony SL-F30, and this is one of the slimmest betas ever made. And there's also the F35, which is PAL and CCAM ULST. And then there's the F60, which added an extra head chip for perfect stills. But really, a wonderful machine, and we will be looking at this one and repairing it in a future video on the channel. The machine that's unusual in the UK is the SL2500 I, and really looking forward to working on this one on the channel. But this is sort of the next machine up, if you like, from the HF100. One machine that does stand out is the SL2500 from Sony. This is actually a duplication machine, so it has no TV tuner, but it does have linear stereo and beta hi-fi stereo, and it could record both at the same time with separate tracks as well if you wished. But it looks great as well, and with those fantastic VU meters, and we've got the hours meter here. And also does bring out the RF from video and beta hi-fi, and the switch pulse as well. But really a wonderful machine, and I've used this a lot, and it's been absolutely brilliant. Another machine I have fond memories of is the Bosch BV6900. See there, it's got rank on the front. This is actually a clone of the Toshiba V5470. Then there's the Sony SLC9, the Sanyo VTC 5150. This was the follow-on machine from the VTC 5000, which on release was actually the cheapest machine in the UK you could buy, and a lot of them were sold. They were really hugely popular. This is the Sony HF100, so SL-HF100 beta hi-fi machine, and this was the first European Sony beta hi-fi machine released. Sony also had an ME range of machines for the Middle Eastern market. These were multi-standard machines, and were variations on sort of the more standard machines you'd find in domestic markets. This one's actually a bit special though, because it's an SL700 ME. It's a Mark II variant. I think there was a Mark III as well, and quite different in looks. But this one is the 15th anniversary, which I think is quite cool, considering it's now its 50th anniversary. So yeah, really great machines. No list would be complete without the Sony C7, the Sony SLC 20, 30, 40 range of machines, and this particular one is a C40. It's an ES, and it's quite unusual. It's not something we saw an awful lot of in this country, with this colouring, this colour of cabinets. They tended to be more sort of gold. There are many machines we didn't get in the UK, and one of them is this absolutely wonderful Sanyo, model number VCR7250, and this is an American model. No doubt there was a Japanese version as well, but what a fantastic looking machine with this lovely step for the controls, and it's super beta, it's beta hi-fi as you can see. Really cool remote control, and the quality of build is just amazing. And last but not least, everybody's favourite beta machine, the Toshiba V9600.
Beta wasn't just used for video, it was also used for audio. This setup allows us to record CD quality digital audio onto a beta tape. and this was used both domestically and professionally for incredibly high quality recordings way back in the early 1980s, before any other such systems were largely available. So here we have a SLC9. This is chosen because it's one of the few machines in the UK that has a special switch in the back which allows us to switch off the dropout compensator to get the very best possible performance with this encoder. And there was a range of these encoders sold. This is the 701 model, and this one's also been modified to have a digital output. Right, so basically, let's play one of the tapes. We get a pattern on the monitor and glorious full CD quality recordings from a Betamax tape in around about 1982. This was just unheard of, and I tell you, this just sounds wonderful. I love this format. It was available long before DAT was released, and certainly before DAT became popular in recording studios. So recording studios would often back material up onto this quite low cost, high quality format. I'm aware that they also used U-matic tapes, and I have equipment for those too. Now, there were 4 models made of this format. I have an example of all of them. Most of them with digital audio output connectors, so I can connect these to a modern Tascam digital audio recorder to recover recordings from recording studios made on this format that was really quite successful. There was a VHS equivalent one, but that kind of flunked because not enough models were released. It just didn't get any traction in with recording studios. So Beta won over VHS on this one. The oldest Beta video recorder in my collection is probably this. It's a beautiful old mechanical type Toshiba marked Beta Video, not Betamax. And though the functions of this are pretty average and the performance is pretty average, just the aesthetic of it is wonderful. It looks wonderful. Bit of a clonk when you hit eject. It's the fully laced variety, always laced in all operation modes, and that's working pretty good for a machine of this age. So what makes this special is this wood effect cabinet and all the chrome buttons and controls. The LCD clock was very advanced for its time. It really has a presence to this machine. A major driving force behind the sales of Beta was Sanyo. This machine, the VTC 5000, actually outsold at one point every VHS machine. It was a huge success. They were reliable, affordable, beautifully built, really nice machines. My first video recorder was actually the model after this, the 5150, that added a few extra features, and my next video recorder was this actual one, a Sanyo Beta Hi-Fi video recorder. So Sanyo were really big into Beta. This domestic Beta tape could also be used for professional equipment, such as on this studio grade Betacam recorder. It uses the same tapes in a different format, which can provide full broadcast standard quality recordings. And that was so successful, it got enhanced to this, which is Betacam SP, uses a metal formula tape, still the same size cassette, at least for the smaller size, which was used on cameras. There was also a larger size tape for use in decks inside a studio, and you may have seen me working on those in the past. And this was so successful that it got moved on to digital Betacam. A massive success. TV studios throughout the world all have digital Betacam recorders, and that moved on to high definition. And here I've got one of the larger tapes. This is HD Cam SR, all derived from the original Beta tape. Well, now the VHS companies tried to get in on professional recordings too and have these VHS derived formats, but these all flunked in the market because Beta had the whole market sewn up. Everyone was used to using Beta and they were very reliable. So it's quite likely that Sony made more money out of Beta and its derivatives than anybody ever did out of VHS. You could say, in fact, that Sony and Beta had the last laugh.
This is Will at Betamax Rebel Outpost, and today is the 50th anniversary of the Betamax format. Congratulations, Beta is now 50 years old. Unbelievable. 50 years of Betamax. Yeah, and even though the format ended over 2 decades ago, I'm still going strong with it, as I'm sure many of you are as well. To me, Betamax is one of the finest products ever made. It all started here with the LV 1901 from 1975, which is a 19-inch color TV with 2 tuners and a built-in Betamax recorder, SL2500, Beta 1 record only. This was the very first Betamax to be released to the market. I started out renting Beta VCRs in the early 80s, and we got our first VCR in 1985, a Toshiba Beta Hi-Fi VS44. One of the best Beta VCRs that I've ever used. I still have it, as well as the color television that we first purchased in 1983. So I got into repairing Beta VCRs in the late 90s. I remember combing the ads and the thrift stores. Back in the late 90s, they were just really hard to find. Over the years, I've collected so many Beta VCRs, it's quite unbelievable. There's still a lot of Japanese models that I want to collect, like the SLJ30. Sony Japan was still producing Beta VCRs up until 2002, and about 5 years ago, I finally acquired my first SL2500 I from Japan, with a date code of 2002, and I couldn't believe it. Then I came across this SL55 on a South American website. Apparently this model came out in 1989. This machine has no features at all. It has eject, stop, play, fast forward, rewind, and record. The video quality is RF output only. There's no RCA composite AV jack. There's no counter, there's no clock, it's just simply a player and recorder only. It's the only Sony that retracts the tape back into the shell before going into full rewind or full fast forward mode, just like a Sanyo. It's such a unique machine for a Sony, I thought it would be interesting to modify this thing and make it a lot different than how it is now. I don't care for the case, and I don't care for the RF out. I'd like to squeeze a little bit more resolution out of it by bypassing the RF and in favor of putting in composite AV input outputs. Okay, here's what I came up with. The chassis is a gutted out SLHF400, and the system has been converted from RF to composite AV input output. So let's give it a little test. The buttons are from a Betacam SP UVW 1800 that I have as a parts unit. It's in really bad condition, so I wanted to use the buttons and repurpose them for this project. The tracking potentiometer is from an SL5000. This to me is a better quality potentiometer to use. These are aluminum rails connecting the chassis to the back of the rear panel. Yeah, the VTR switch is going to be repurposed to activate a video switch to select between the analog composite AV inputs or the HDMI input, which is just going to be converted to composite video. A lot of this is going to change. Nothing is quite set. There is going to be an anodized front panel I'm going to add to this. I'm going to redo the PCB. I'm going to get it actually printed. This is just a mock-up, and everything is exactly the same as the original PCB, minus the traces for the tuner circuits. So the interface PCB that runs from the system board over to the front panel, this PCB I just pulled out of some VCR somewhere that has already an available connector that works with this ribbon cable, and I just connected up the wires underneath to the available traces. And as you can see, this flat cable is really close to the capstan motor, but I was able to turn the connector around. I basically just flipped it over on its side so that the cable comes straight out versus sticking straight up, and it does make the clearance now. Even though it is a little bit cheesy, it is functioning right now. Eventually what I'd like to do is relocate the connector to the bottom side and have a direct run over to the bottom side of the board. But for right now, this was fine. Yes, long life head design. I can see why, because that tape is never in contact with the heads whenever it's put into fast forward or rewind. The only time there's tape contact is when the machine is in playback or record. This has been a great 50th anniversary celebration for the Betamax format. I want to thank everyone for watching this video, and have a happy Beta Day.